Am I crazy?
So finally, after almost 2 decades, the 4th installment of The Matrix will be coming soon to cinema by the end of this year, ready to introduce a whole new generation of young audience to this groundbreaking landmark in sci-fi film history. Though I wasn't aware of the directors of The Matrix when I first watched the film as a teenager, it was actually only the 2nd film of the Wachowski siblings, which is amazing considering how mature it was. So what kind of filmmaking experience did they have that built up to The Matrix?
The Wachowskis, they came in and it was like they had only done one movie. They did a movie, I think it was called Bound.
And our next movie is a leading contender for honors as this year's successor to Blood Simple and Red Rock West. It's named Bound.
Not enough people talk about the Wachowskis' directorial debut, but it was Bound that both stylistically prepared them and also convinced Warner Brothers that they are capable of making The Matrix. Bound is many things. It's a neo-noir, lesbian erotic crime thriller with comedy elements. If you want to watch an analysis on Bound regarding its accurate and refreshing lesbian community representation, intelligent use of innuendos, and how it both follows and defies the film noir genre conventions at the same time, you can check out the video essay, The Greatest Lesbian Gangster Heist Movie Ever Made, by Now You See It. But today, I want to simply focus on how the filmmaking style in Bound has preceded and foreshadowed The Matrix. The Wachowskis cited 2 major influences for Bound: Billy Wilder's film noirs and Frank Miller's Sin City. It's easy to spot the film noir influence from Billy Wilder, whether through the twisty story, the shadow-filled low-key lighting, or even down to some of its old-school staging of actors. But it is the comical neo-noir influence from Sin City that made Bound so aesthetically distinctive. In Sin City, important subjects are often emphasized through a color that stands out within an overall muted monochromatic color scheme. It also has an interesting way of depicting liquid, especially blood, in sensual and expressionistic manner, to paint the story with an uninhibited wild energy. Even though Bound doesn't push the stylization to such an extreme extent, the same idea remains. Given that the Wachowskis grew up on comic books and even wrote several issues of Clive Barker's Ecto Kid, Hellraiser, and Nightbreed for Marvel Comics, it's no surprise that some of the shots in Bound look like they are framing straight out of the comic panels. The characters wear formal black suits, leather jackets, and sunglasses, a signature fashion inherited from the gangster films of John Woo, which was again carried forward in The Matrix. Through the neo-noir and comic book elements in Bound, the Wachowskis not only set up a unique visual style that anticipated the Matrix franchise, but even allowed us to catch a glimpse of their sensibility in science fiction filmmaking. In The Matrix, the characters will often teleport to another space by simply picking up a telephone from a phone booth. This visual motif of telephones and phone lines are recurrent in Bound as well. The phone calls are often key plot points that disrupt the current dramatic direction, and also the only connection that the trapped characters have with their outside world. Now let's take a special look at these 2 shots again in slow motion because there are some quality dank humor here. The camera movement exactly follows the trajectory of the phone wire at a fast speed along with the squeaky whooshing sound design, and even makes a turn at the part where the cord is twisted. Wow, it is literally a low-budget tracking shot of the signal, guys. And that is only one of the many examples in Bound where the Wachowskis increased visual interest through well-choreographed camera movements. But out of all these examples, I want to dive a little deeper into my favorite shot in the film, one with a strangely futuristic undertone to it, which is the opening shot. Just like Billy Wilder's Double Indemnity or Sunset Boulevard where the film opens with the ending, Bound also opens at a moment towards the end of the story. On top of a mysterious soundtrack, we hear the dreamlike dialogues from the 3 main characters. Dialogues that we will later learn are from different timelines of the film, juxtaposed against each other like a mixtape. The visual is framed symmetrically, depicting a dimly lit empty space with metal ball beads hanging in the middle. Since the voices come with strong reverbs, we assume that this is possibly a huge empty hall space and what's in the middle may be a giant set of installation art. However, as the camera slowly pushes in, we realize that this is not the case. The camera is in fact pointing downward and going from high to low, as we slowly recognize the hangers, the clothes, the dress, and the fact that this is a wardrobe. After we see high heels on the shelf that is representative of the female gender, it is revealed that a pair of feet wearing boots are being tied up, which leads to a elaborate tattoo on their arm. a popular lesbian feminist symbol representing female empowerment, self-sufficiency, and matriarchy. And finally, our protagonist, Corky's face is introduced, before this uninterrupted 1-minute take cuts to the next scene of Corky's flashback. This opening shot of Bound not only displayed the Wachowskis' incredible technical competency to pull off shots with such complex choreography, but also witnessed the birth of their cinematic genius. It's dramatically efficient, twisting the audience expectations and revealing just enough information at the right pace. It also constructed a quick metaphor which summarized the overall narrative of the entire film. The lesbian characters who are being tied up in a confined cubicle and stuck inside a fake reality will eventually break out of the boundaries established by the larger world, literally by coming out of the closet and embracing their true identities. If that sounds extremely familiar, that's because essentially, it's almost the same as the transgender allegory in The Matrix. And by having unrestrained camera movement with the freedom to travel to any angle within a location, the Wachowskis created a microcosmos out of a tiny space, blowing up the textural beauty of the wardrobe's close-up details, making it no less captivating than a big-budget sci-fi set piece. This approach to how the camera moves freely within space makes sense, considering that the Wachowskis are avid fans of anime. Inspired by anime, even the one sex scene in Bound was shot with fairly complicated staging, where the camera is put on crane and travels 360 degrees around the subjects in one long unbroken take. Of course, that is an obvious precursor to the famous bullet time in The Matrix, and the rest is history. Bound may not be a sci-fi blockbuster, but it shows us what filmmakers with big visions can accomplish in their early career, even when they do not have enough budget yet. Seeing how the Wachowskis executed mundane or cliché scenes with such a precise, contemporary, and refreshing approach, in my opinion, the first shot of their debut feature is a shot that sets up not only a visionary film, but also a legendary career.